Hello, this will be a somewhat interesting video, but primarily helpful for a lot of you. What we're doing is, well, what I'm doing is I'm going to show you how to remove the round dashboard from the 84 to 90 Escorts and EXPs and Lynxes, and yeah, that's it. It's just those three cars that had these guys. The Tempo's had something similar. Rumor has it is it interchanges, but I'm not going to be the one to say that. I've never had or touched a Tempo in my life, so that's not for me to say. I do know that some of the components of the dashboard are compatible between them. Rumor has it some of the years the glove box is the same, and I know that the gauge cluster itself is the same, but all that depends on the year and model of one versus the other. Like I found out, sit down and I'll show you. The dashboard that came in this car, an 86 Escort L. You can see here it's primarily flat, but on all the EXPs and most Escorts GTs, it's got a rather aggressive curve to it, and it's not just flat. Unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. So there's things like that to keep in mind. Anyhow, yes, this is what it looks like without the dashboard in your car. It's nothing too spectacular, but it is a lot of work getting that dashboard out. When you sit in the car, it all looks quite fun and easy until you get to the steering wheel section. The problem lies in how they built this here. So they have this C-shaped tube, so it looks like that if I were to cut it. It goes all the way across the bottom of the dashboard, and it's totally fine. Helps add to strength and rigidity. It's a little bit more crumple zone should there be a crash or whatever. However, you know, with the 81 to 83 dashboards, there'd be a section of frame across the bottom of the glove box that you could remove. You just undid two screws here, one in that corner, and then this whole rail would simply move away. Now you have really good access to whatever you need to there. But more critical is over here. For 81 and 83, they had a similar removable length of frame here. You undid 2 to 4 screws, and the whole thing would go up a little, back down behind, and it's gone. And then you have a nice big opening to get your steering wheel in or out. With this guy, it was a royal turd. It was a turd. Now, it wouldn't be bad if you were to go ahead and say, remove the ignition lock and switch as a whole, then remove the turn signal switch as a whole, and remove the wiper switch as a whole, and then disconnected the loom and got rid of all of that. But you still have to remove the steering wheel. But as you can see here, all this stuff was kind of in the way of that vertically rectangular hole. So what you have to do is remove the steering wheel, which ain't too bad. I got a video on that, and that is handy. So you remove that. Now you're still left with this, and this doesn't exactly pass through that hole, especially in this orientation. So then what you have to do is remove the steering column, and that's all right. It's just 4 of these bolts. You can see 2 on this side, and then on the other side it's the same exact thing. There's up front here, there's going to be a bolt on each corner, and then in the back there's going to be a nut in each corner. Once you remove all 4 of those, this guy will fall to the floor. So it's kind of best to be under it somehow so you can catch it. Otherwise, this will just destroy your seat or your carpet, assuming that you still need to save those. Anyhow, once you have this removed, you can actually take the whole thing and turn it 90 degrees, and all of a sudden, hey, it passes through that hole. But it still is a 2-3 person job, because someone has to be able to fish this through the vertical hole, and then someone else has to hold the dashboard kind of scooch it on forward, and then carry it on out. It was a pain. Getting to that point was pretty easy, but that process alone was, oh boy, what a chore. Boy, what a chore. But how you remove it is pretty simple. I'm grabbing the hardware as I speak here. There's not really much hardware you have to remove at all. And we'll step outside the car. We'll take a look at our dashboard, and I'll show you exactly what has to be removed. Now, when you're sitting in the car, you'll see on top of the dashboard there's these 3 holes. One there, one there. It's kind of hidden, and then the other one there. And they're all held in with these screws. And I believe these are just 7mm head screws. You can see they're pretty long, so it takes a while to get them out. But they're fairly easy to get out. There's plenty enough room for a screwdriver with a 7mm adapter on them, and they come right out. So you do those 3. Next, you'll have 2 of these. These are 8mm, what I call body screws. These are almost the same exact things you'll find on the tops of your fenders. In fact, they might actually be the same exact thing on the top of your fenders. And you'll have 3 of these. You'll have one in these bottom tangs of the dashboard, one on the right, another one on the left. But then you'll also have, excuse me, a third hiding behind the cigarette lighter if you have one, but otherwise underneath the radio there will be a third one here, and this guy just goes into that mounting bracket, that triangle mounting bracket. It looks like a handbrake mount, so that's where the third piece goes into. So that's all there is for hardware. You literally only got 6 bolts to remove, and then it's free as a bird. Oh, and I almost forgot, you do have to loosen up this guy. And you don't have to remove it. In fact, you might not be able to remove it, but you do have to loosen it up. I believe it's to the 11mm nut. And then the carriage bolt it's on, it swings back and forth. This is what holds your dashboard to the steering column mount, as you can see right here. And it's channeled, so all you have to do is just loosen up that nut, and the whole dashboard can slide forward, and then it's released from everything. Well, as far as hardware goes, once all the hardware is removed, you got a lot of stuff to fight on the back here. I wouldn't remove most of it, so you can't see it. Before I removed it, there was a lot of wiring here. Obviously, you have to remove the gauge cluster, a couple bezels. I have videos on all that. And then you have to remove the bezel and radio. So that would be the bezel for the radio and the AC panel. You also have to remove that AC panel. Removing the AC panel is kind of tricky, but I did do it. I'll grab it so you can actually see it. This is the guy I speak of. And it has a cable going into each of the controls, one above, one below, and they hook up straight to these guys, and they go straight to the blend doors on your HVAC box. But otherwise, the rest of the dashboard, to remove the dashboard, you'll have to remove this piece. It's held in by, I think it's either a 6mm, maybe 1/8 inch, or not 1/8, 1/4 inch, something like that. Scott Phillips had, but it's usually in there pretty darn good. But you remove that, and then this whole piece is free to go out. Once you remove that one screw, this will just slide right out. It's not held on with anything, and then once you slide it out, pull it away, and this will just disconnect. It's not even a friction fit, it just, they touch. And over here we have to remove this bezel. Underneath this is a whole lot of wiring. It moves most of the wiring from the left side of the interior over to the right side. And there's plenty of it. So it goes in through this guy, comes all the way down here and out the end of this hole. It's only the three screws. Again, they have Phillips heads, but they're, I believe, size 7, maybe 6, maybe quarter, and a 1/4 inch is just 6.5 millimeter. And then once they come out of this guy, a bunch of the cables go through these 2 clamps, and these clamps are kind of one-shot deals. So once the cables go into these, they clamp them closed, and they click like that. Now they're enclosed. And then to remove them, removing them, and boys, that a fun task, especially when this is inside the car and you can't see what you're doing. But that's all that's going on, is you gotta pinch them together, and while you have them pinched together, roll your finger out, and hopefully you'll roll this one end with it, and it'll splay them apart enough for you to fish your wires out of them. And the same over here. That's all there is, just the 2 pieces that are like that. And then the remainder of your wiring will be held to the steel frame of the dashboard with these little one-shot clips, and then they're wrapped to the loom via tape. So there's that big old mess. Otherwise, it only connects to the HVAC box, just a snug fit, and then these foam joints are all that keeps them quote-unquote sealed. So that's all there is to it. It's a lot of work, and there are a few other little things you have to do here and there. If you have a turbo model or some sort of other special model, you might have the light modules inside these little rectangular brackets among the instrument cluster. But you also always have a light switch here that you have to disconnect. And I do have that here. This one was held in with 7mm screws or Phillips, or both. Yeah, that'd be the 7mm screws with Phillips heads too. Yes, and how you do it is you first pull this out to its furthest notch, and you'll grab the collar as hard as you can and turn it left. Some of these are already pretty loose, some of them are just royal turds. But once you have that loose, now the only way to get this out is you have to press this spring, and your control has to be in the outermost position, but you press the spring, and when you press the spring, you're then able to pull out the knob. So I'll do that real quick off camera. Not hiding anything, you just heard that click, that's the sound of it releasing. And this is what that looks like. You can see there's an arrowhead on the pin, and that's what the spring-loaded release releases. It releases that. And then the only way to insert it back in is kind of lined it up where it was on this one. All the red marks faced red marks on the spool. So we stick it in there the way it should be, and then while pressing the button, because as you press this button, it keeps the switch mechanism inside here locked in the outermost position. If you fail to press this in, it will move from this first detent to the second detent, and then quite easily into the third detent. And then once you do that, this guy will just fling back off. So that, while you're pushing it in, you have to have the push button squeezed, and then you can push it all in, let go, and now you'll be able to move it among its 3 positions. And as hard as you pull, it won't come out. You'll break things before it comes out until you push this again and then pull it out. So it's an interesting locking mechanism, and this one collar and the 2 screws are all that holds this assembly into the dashboard there. It's pretty nifty, and yeah, I definitely recommend doing that lock release maneuver before trying to remove the connector for this. It's just going to make things a lot easier for you. because you can disconnect this while the dash is loose versus when this is still bolted in a corner, just full of an ungodly amount of wiring. Otherwise, yeah, there are a few other things you do have to disconnect, like all the wires that go to the gauge cluster have to be disconnected. The wires that go to the fan resistor pack, that has to be disconnected. 2 wires come this way through the dashboard, and it goes into the door for the speaker, power mirrors, etc. And then another one goes into a door open close switch that goes through this hole. It has to be disconnected. Same on the driver's side. And then to gain access to these bottom bolts, you do have to remove the plastic interior panel. That'll be the floor kicks that just go right there. And those are only held in with pop tabs, but you do have to remove the lower trim here, or at least loosen the first couple bolts so you can get it out without damaging anything. Once you've undone all the wiring, those few bolts, and a whole lot of shenanigans, now it will come out as one unit. And as one unit, I mean bare bones. I mean, there was like nothing left aside from the HVAC stuff, all the plumbing and hoses. That's it. It's just the steel skeleton and then the vinyl covered foam. That's it. But yeah, boy, it was quite a procedure, but we did it. So yeah, that's how you'll do it. In the future, I will have a video on how to remove the dashboard from an 81 to 83 car, the square dash cars. I find those more interesting, and they have some easier aspects, and this has a few harder aspects, but side by side, they kind of level out. There's a number of goofy quirks with both as far as installation and removals goes, but I've made the video long enough, so if you have any questions, you're welcome to say so in the comments box. I do read them whenever I'm notified to them. So I'll only see them if I've been notified, so please do keep that in mind. But otherwise, if you have a long list of specific questions, just email me. It's easier that way. Anyhow, keep in touch, and we'll see you guys later.